Maybe you know him. I hope you know him from such excellent shows as United Shades of America. Host, writer, comedian, W. Kamau Bell. I bumped into him in the CNN steam room recently, fondling his Emmy. And I asked him, Kamau, if you could go anywhere on Earth for like a mashup episode of my show and yours, where would that be? He said, Kenya. So, here we are. United Shades Unknown, or Parts United. Scratch that. That doesn't sound good. America's Shadiest Parts. No, that doesn't work either. Unknown Shades.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
First time on this continent.
Yes, as a African American, there's a lot of talk about going back to this thing of the motherland.
And it's a seriously radicalizing experience for African American comics who've come here before.
Yes,
Life-changing, so we shall see.
Even walking through the streets, like, I had this feeling of like when I moved from Chicago to Oakland, you hear about Oakland as being this black city, and you get there and it's like, okay, there's black people here, but it's not like, this is what I imagined Oakland was gonna be like. This is like this feels like this is black, you know?
Nairobi means cool water in Massai. It's the capital of Kenya with 6.5 million people living in the metro area. It grew up around a British railroad depot during the colonial era, halfway between other British interests in Uganda and the coastal port of Mombasa. I will admit to a weird, frankly unlovely sense of been here, done that. It's not a good look for me, I know, but there's a mischievous curiosity tucked away in some poisonous part of my brain that's dying to see how Kamau handles the heat, the spice, the crowds, the overwhelming rush of a whole new world. Because that's what it is first time. This ain't Berkeley.
I'm already happy.
Well, I'm pretty happy because I've seen this scene so many times on your show. I finally get to be in this scene of this is gonna be good.
I mean, you have a Kenyan name.
Yes, my parents met in East Palo Alto, California. You know, this is like the late 60s, starting to be the early 70s, so post the civil rights movement, but that point where black people are starting to like really like want a connection to the motherland. And in East Palo Alto, there was this push towards naming it Nairobi, California. Back then, there's people who were like, we need to be associated with an example of African culture that is winning, and that at that point, Kenya was looked at as being winning because they were just kicked out the Brits. And there's all this sort of like, you know, we need to start a whole new culture and a new government. They start like a community college that's in people's houses and in basements and in storefronts. And I was the first baby born to one of the heads of the council, apparently. And apparently there was like a whole ceremony, lasted 8 days, and you know, I picture it like the Lion King. I don't know, there's no pictures.
And yet, a proud Kenyan name, given your background, why so long? Why? What took you so long, man?
I was waiting for an invitation. I think as a black American, I'm still wrestling with my African American identity sometimes, and I'm still wondering, am I doing right by this culture, and does this culture think I'm doing right by them? That's why I don't want to walk around like, I'm home. I also think that like a lot of times black people in America have really struggled with that as an identity. What is it to me to be black American? I'm like, I fought hard to claim this identity. It's exhausting, you know. Am I ready to start with a new one? I don't know yet.
Well, we'll see in a week when you head back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Shit runs deep here, meaning best scientists can tell it all started for us in this neighborhood. Tribes of hunter-gatherers, Arab and Persian traders, the Omani, all left their mark. But the British Empire's hold from 1895 to 1964 is perhaps most deeply felt. The British system of education, governance, justice, along with, to a certain extent, its values, were imposed on a native people and laid, for better and worse, much of the foundation for modern Kenya. It did abolish slavery, for instance. It did build a modern infrastructure. It was also completely and fundamentally exploitative, often violent, and, well, racist. Kenya existed to make white people from far away rich. But in 1963, Kenya won its independence and elected its first president, Jomo Kenyatta, and since that time has fought an uphill battle to shake the last vestiges of colonial rule while hanging on to what worked. Things are, by most accounts, going well. There is a growing middle class, a highly rated educational system, and an enthusiastic and multilingual professional sector, which is to say, this is decidedly not a shithole. It's dynamic, it's changing, and it's incredible. Kenya, by Kenyans, for Kenyans. But hurdles exist. Bizarre, almost surreal ones in this case. Mitumba, for instance, also known as the clothing of dead white people.
70% of Africans are wearing secondhand clothes. If we can just make our own clothes and make them cheap enough and make the money and keep the money.
And Jerry Gakira is the owner of Chili Mango, an all-Kenyan streetwear company. Melissa Mbungwa is a managing director at a creative consulting firm.
As I understand it, there used to be 500,000 manufacturing jobs in Kenya, textile manufacturing, and there's now 20,000.
Yeah. Before the 80s, we had a booming textile industry that could employ 500,000 people. But now in the 80s, when the World Bank introduced the free trade, we got all this secondhand clothes coming into the country.
Here's how it works. Your pants or your t-shirt get old or boring. So, being a good-hearted soul, rather than throw them out, you drop them in a charity box, assuming they'll go to someone who needs them. But no. In fact, that charity sells your pants and your t-shirt, along with a whole lot of other clothes, in bulk to a second-hand clothing exporter, a middleman, part of a billion-dollar industry. Exporters then sell your stuff by the container load to places like Kenya. Along the way, millions of dollars are creamed off in duties. The old clothes are then unpacked, sorted, and sold in markets throughout the country. This low-cost clothing option has absolutely crushed the domestic textile market.
Now, some countries in Africa have said, wait a minute, this is not good for our employment situation. We're not going to let this stuff in anymore. What happened then?
So America came and they told us that they would have trade sanctions against us.
If you didn't take all this used clothes.
Exactly, yeah, because of the free trade.
It's pretty much oppressive. Yeah, it's neo-colonialism.
USA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As screwed up as the whole situation is, people do love the availability of cheap clothes. And Toy Market is the place to go for what in New York City would be called vintage. A dense labyrinth of shops neatly organized by specialty.
Honey, I brought all the Uggs back from Kenya. There's got to be something in your size.
The challenge today is going to be finding footwear for Kamau's decidedly non-Kenyan feet, not to mention mine.
I need a half size up.
Oh, nice.
There we go. I had to come to the continent to find shoes that fit me.
High five. High
That's
10.
right.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear, some rich, annoying American person who bought these, wore them twice, and then was like, ew, they're out of season.
Yeah.
Well, Debbie Harry's shirt is kind of cool. I will take this for sure.
Well, here we go.
Oh, nice.
Oh, there, now we're talking. Black man in America wearing a King Kong shirt.
Oh, yeah, wow.
So, yeah, I don't know how it goes over here, but in America. That's a great narc shirt. Right. That's a great, like, hey, kids.
Anyone want to buy some acid?
This is just weird enough and simple enough.
That is pretty cool.
I feel like I could tell. Where did you get that shirt? I got it in Kenya.
Yeah.
Is there a realistic hope that the textile industry would come back?
There is, to me there is. You know, China and South Korea, they didn't leave poverty or like stop being poor by importing secondhand clothes. They did it by building all these factories, being able to export the stuff that they're producing. So it has to happen the same way with us.
Everybody needs a superhero. In Kibera, Nairobi's largest neighborhood, they make their own. Part of a project run by the Massai Art Collective, intended to empower kids who don't otherwise have much.
There's a Swahili saying, it says, sanaa ni kioo cha jamii. Art is the reflection of the community.
Well, what we did is to make art, we use it as a tool.
So many stories have been told about Kibera.
But they're negative stories.
Negative stories.
Many organizations come here in Kibera, they shoot videos and films of talking about AIDS, drugs, you know, negative things about Kibera.
So you have a lot of documentary crews that come through here and film crews that come through here?
They usually come here.
So I have a question. Are we assholes? We can talk around it. We can talk. I feel like a white guy right now. You know what I mean?
Kibera is massive. Around 172,000 people live here.
So here, as a person named Kamau, I'm not unique.
Yeah, very common.
I've waited all my life to be common.
Welcome home. I'll go and tell our forefathers you are here.
Thank you.
Mamito Unis is a comedian. Simon Okuku, a musician. And Jeff Ochieng, once voted Kenya's funniest person, are all using art to tell a new story about Kibera.
It started from the challenge that we have been facing in this life. Like me, you know, I've been brought up by a single parent. I used even to engage in criminal activities. Coming across my fellow friends and who have been passing to such kind of messes, we decided to come up with an organization known as Kibera Creative Arts to try to teach these our fellow young people to make them avoid getting to these traps that are set for us.
Kibera is also ground zero for what's called around here the white savior complex, a focal point for the more than 12,000 mostly well-meaning expat aid workers who live in Kenya. It's a dynamic that can be counterproductive, as salary and employment discrepancies can cause a ripple effect of problems for native Kenyans.
Yeah, man.
Many Kenyans are working on a grassroots level to take control of their own future. Kibera Creative Arts being an example. Artists and performers from the neighborhood working to support and develop local talent.
What is it like to be a comedian in Kenya? How does that look?
It's so hard to make people laugh in Kenya. You imagine these are people who have not paid
their rent.
These are people who have gone without food for some days.
They come in angry.
Yeah.
Angry and hungry.
You should take me with this camera when I was small. Now that I've grown big, let me be taken by big things.
And that's the reason why when we go on stage and make people laugh, it is a plus. So we say, wow, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love to make more people happy because there's always ups and downs in life, but we will always laugh.
You know, when people see Mamito performing and they see all the people seeing Mamito as a star. Oh, if Mamito is just performing and she's now a star, I don't need to go and drop somewhere to make me a star. I can use whatever I have because I think even in Kibera, we have some things that we can show to the world.
By regional standards, Kenya, Nairobi anyway, is particularly tolerant. Kenya has become a sanctuary of sorts for a number of diverse ethnic, political, and social groups. One such group with a steadily growing nucleus is the LGBT community. Not too long ago, a nearly unthinkable development.
So you shall never know this pain or awkwardness, when I'm doing shows in the States. I often find myself, so, what's it like being black in America? Now you will share my pain. What's it like being gay in Kenya?
Oh, yes.
Kawera Murichia, Malcolm Muga, and Awara Nyango are members of To Revolutionary Art Love, a gay art collective. Kevin Washiro is a writer and journalist.
So how free can you be? Like, are there places in Kenya where you can walk around holding hands with your partner?
You could try, And
Are there places you could go where it's not an experiment?
No, I think at all points it's an experiment.
Well, so where's the threat from? Where is it most dangerous?
I think the violence is like from homophobes. All of it is based around like desire of the penis, right? So if you see two women kiss, it's hot because you think you can get in there. Yeah. So like,
penis belongs there.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just one penis short.
Yeah, like they need me to help them out with the dick.
Yeah.
But if you're
just in abundance.
Yeah. And the violence like against like lesbians always comes in the part where like men realize, oh, they're not attracted to me.
Much of the news concerning gay rights on this continent continues to be pretty grim. It should be pointed out that even being gay is still illegal here. But in February of 2018, the Kenyan National Gay and Lesbian Rights Commission filed suit to strike down sections of the laws, arguing, well, the obvious, that they violate basic human rights. What happens next? Well, a lot of people are holding their breath.
If the law's overturned, what are the larger implications?
If we win this case, I'm happy and scared at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why scared?
Backlash, obviously. It'll happen. There will be people who will be attacked.
Yeah.
I mean, we're moving to an extreme end of freedom. Yeah. And there'll be hate. I mean, I want it to happen so bad.
Yeah.
If it happens for us, it'll be inclusion for every
Everyone,
other
yeah.
minority in this country.
Whatever bus you're taking, it ain't like this. Crosstown traffic just got a little bit wilder and more fun if you're riding the friendly skies of a matatu. Matatus are privately owned and operated bus lines running regular routes, fiercely competitive, to the point that owners started making modifications in an ever-changing range of themes designed to attract the fickle commuter.
Oh, yeah.
Not subtle.
All right, let's do it, man.
Culminating in buses like this. Mad Max, a rolling, post-apocalyptic, seizure-inducing party bus. Just the thing you need after a hard day's work.
I'm not trying to dance. It's making me dance. I don't actually want to dance.
So what do people want on their Matatu? What do they have to have?
First of all, you need to have good music. The exterior art needs to be popping.
Widescreen TVs?
Yeah, TVs, Wi-Fi, air fresheners.
Beers and goat's head soup, a global classic. Slow-cooked, well, goat's head. My companion, Mr. Bell, unaccustomed as he is to the ways of Africa, is new to this dish. And I don't want to sound all Colonel Mustard, but I eat this shit for breakfast by now. You know what I mean?
I hear the words goat head soup, and I think, oh, yeah, it'll be meat from the goat's head in a soup.
Oh, no, goat head.
I didn't expect to actually see a full-on head of a goat.
Brian Wanjama Obiando is a blogger, photographer, and chronicler of the Matatu phenomenon. Lucia Alessandra Murato is a legendary conductor. Catherine Camboon is the owner of Mad Max.
Honored guest.
Honored guest. Yep. Is this I meeting right here?
Song.
I generously reserve the best and most tender bits for my friend, as one does. I fear, however, that he was less than enthusiastic, initially anyway. Wait till he tries the brain, he's gonna love it.
That's my first eye.
Yeah?
That's my first.
Right.
Yeah. I knew I'd end up doing something like that with you.
Get over with that. Well, so you own the business.
Yeah,
And how long have you been in the business?
like 5 years.
We want to get into the Matatu business in New York.
Yes.
And I'm thinking about some improvements.
Yeah.
We need a hot tub. This could reinvigorate public transportation as we know it.
Especially in New York and LA where people don't like the bus. And what does it mean to be the conductor? They don't just let anybody be the conductor.
In this job, you need to have a lot of patience. Just somebody who's had a bad day, they just don't want to pay. If you don't have patience, you just find yourself on top of the moon.
So can you tell me, what's it like growing up as an Italian Kenyan?
The challenges I had as a kid was my hair. Everyone wanted to touch my hair. One thing I love about this job is that I meet all types of people. And I don't look down on them and they don't look down on me. That's the best part of it.
Just wait until New York City sees Kamau and my joint venture, the Wolf Blitzer. A few hours drive from Nairobi, it's another world. The Africa of dreams, of films, the natural world. But a world under constant threat. Lewa Wildlife Conservancy seeks to address the problem of keeping all this alive and safe without excluding or marginalizing the people who've lived here for centuries.
This is Dave, guys. Look at this guy here. This is Dave the giraffe. He's a residential giraffe. Hi, Dave.
Our guide is Kamau Shukiyama. He grew up in a village near here and has a deep knowledge of the wildlife of Lewa.
This is significantly better than the zoo. I guess it goes without saying. Yeah. For some reason, I had a negative connotation of safari.
They used to shoot animals in safari. There's our kind of safari, and then there's the, Trump Jr. safari.
Yeah, I think I was afraid every time I said the word that people just, what are you doing? Like,
no, this is good. This is a good kind of safari.
Okay,
it's good for the world.
Okay, good.
100%. Good for the world.
Good for the world.
So good for all the
I think we need another word or something.
See an elephant?
Where?
Right there.
Ouch.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. Even if you see them in a zoo closer, they're behind bars, and it just doesn't feel connected. But I feel like we're right here.
Yeah, he's actually going someplace.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's not just walking in a circle. He's actually got stuff to do.
The fact of the matter is, these magnificent animals would most likely be gone without the intervention of man. People pay a lot of money to come see these animals. Without that money, the overwhelming likelihood is that they would have been wiped out long ago, particularly this one.
Whoa, what?
That's a rhino. That's a fast rhino.
Wow.
The Conservancy was set up specifically to protect these guys. Poaching is, of course, an ever-present danger to both the animals at Lewa and the people who look after them. Particularly the rhinoceros, whose horn is believed by wealthy Chinese buyers to be a strong medicine with virility-enhancing powers. The reality that the substance that makes up a rhino horn is the same as the human fingernail does not deter a market that will pay tens of thousands of dollars for a single horn. With 62,000 acres to cover, Lewa's anti-poaching program is necessarily aggressive, inclusive, and cutting edge, relying on local trackers, advanced tracking technologies, and perhaps most importantly, good community outreach and intelligence gathering. If the local people are not on your side, you are at a serious disadvantage.
So that's a white rhino.
And it's a white rhino?
That is a white rhino.
And how do you
It's nothing to do with the coloration.
Okay.
White was an African name, white, which means wide mouth. And whoever came to write about them put a knee there, then it became white.
You said white rhino, and it was like...
Yeah, it's not white.
I think his dad might be black.
Does it look like you wanted it to look? Or expected it to look?
I mean, no. I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, I grew up as a kid, Probably my first images of Africa were Tarzan,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I knew what Kenya, Africa was,
What a shithole, right? I mean,
What a shithole. I mean, the other thing I'm aware of, too, is that thing about, like, not wanting to feel like I have come home,
Mm-hmm.
And yet there is a sense that there is this diasporic connection, even though I did not come from Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have that connection, even if the frame that connection was built through was colonialism, It's the good part of colonialism. It brings people together.
I don't know, this should kind of be compulsory viewing for. Yeah. Like, if you ever run for president, this should be compulsory.
At the very least, I do think that a lot of perspectives will be opened up, a lot of minds will be changed.
Traditionally, we've had some sort of conservation culture which sort of got eroded. It's been with us. It's been with our forefathers. We just lost it somewhere recently, and we're trying to get it back.
When you have traditional pastoral communities under intense and immediate pressure, trying to convince them that wildlife, which can, as in the case of one rhino or elephant, bring in life-changing amounts of money, it's a hard thing to convince them that it is in their long-term interest to let them live. Particularly when it was often wealthy white outsiders doing the asking.
If you were very successful in managing this ex-cattle ranch as a conservancy, but wildlife across Kenya as a whole had no future, then to all intents and purposes, you just established a zoo. And so what Lewa's ethos has always been is to just show Kenyans that actually wildlife can have value and benefit.
Mike Watson is the CEO of the Lewa Conservancy. Tom Lulampa leads the Northern Rangeland Trust. Faith Riunga is the head of education at Lewa, and Wangiku Kanothia is the head of communication.
You're responsible for a larger picture involving a huge challenge. First, the immediate needs of a lot of people, but also potential conflicts with the traditional way of life. How have you been able to do what you've been able to do?
I was born and brought up in a very strong pastoral background. We were really anti anything about conservation, really anti. Because one, we had a perception that this is a government thing, this is about grabbing our land.
That probably also doesn't help that a lot of that land is owned by white people, right? Like, somebody else is owning our land.
Initially.
Okay.
There was also a perception that conservation is being driven by the whites. And so it's not about the communities, it's not about us, it's about them. But gradually we came to realize that the approach that was being introduced was a community approach.
Going back 13 years back, there was one girl who made it to high school. And she's speaking English, she's dressing up, and the other girls are like, you know what, I'd like to be her. And the more and more and more they've seen go through high school, graduate, slowly by slowly, they get to see the value themselves. Education works very well.
Are there efforts for people in the community who couldn't afford to come in here to sort of see what's going on in here so they can have a further buy-in?
We have a conservation education program here where over 3,500 school children can come onto Lewa free of charge, get to see wildlife. Because, unless you can afford to go to national parks or to places like Lewa, then you definitely wouldn't have the opportunity to interact with wildlife.
So we're headed towards the lions? Is that what we're doing right now?
So now you can see at the peak, you can just see something sticking there. That's a lion sitting.
Oh, yeah, I see, right next to the little tree.
Wow.
Whoa. Well, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah. If we're lucky, they might come down the hill.
That's lucky.
If we're lucky. We define luck in different ways. They seem to be having their eyes on something. He's gonna turn. He's gonna go left.
Oh, yeah.
So we have
Oh,
a
geez.
good position.
How are you doing, lion?
So the lion is about like 30 feet from us or so.
Look.
Just my family, I love you. That's just in case.
Just outside the borders of Lewa Conservancy is a Massai village known as the Ilangwesi Community Range. They are working with Lewa to not only embrace conservation, but also to maintain their way of life.
You know, in Maasai traditional way, we've got our diets, which is meat, blood, and milk. At least once in a while, they do blood tapping.
To the Maasai, the cow is a sacred animal, giver of all things. Unlike the West, meat is not the primary interest. Here, cattle are sustainable, a long-term asset for milk, for cheese, and on special occasions, blood, straight from the tap.
Okay, here we go.
Whoa!
All right, well done.
Well done.
Annoying as hell for the cow, no doubt, but decidedly not fatal. It might, however, prove fatal for my colleague Kamau, who, unlike me, has never experienced this local beverage. A warm jet of arterial blood into the gourd. Add some thick, clotting milk, also from cow, shake, and down the hatch.
Would you like to have a sip?
Yes. Here we go.
You gonna try?
Here you go. Oh, you're gonna like it. It's good.
You'll like it.
And keep in mind, the whole village is watching, and you are on TV.
I'm home. Yeah.
Makes you strong.
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you.
Working with the local Maasai community is both an absolute necessity and the right thing to do. To displace and forever disrupt the people who've lived here forever in favor of animals that wealthy white people want to take pictures of would be hideous and unconscionable. This is happening elsewhere on the continent, but the people at Lewa and Ilangwesi are working very hard to find a better path.
He's saying the meaning of the word Ilangwesi. It's the people who survived, you know, by hunting and gathering. And hunting wasn't what we understand of hunting today. It was hunting for survival, for food, not for business, not for selling trophies and stuff.
Jonathan Kip is a Maasai chief. Lila Kenyaha is a Maasai elder here at Ilangwesi.
Was this an easy or a difficult transition, or was it imposed from outside?
The transition first is when the poachers or the sport hunting was happening. We think it was a Western idea, and we were not beneficiaries of it until when an idea came from Lewa and said, well, we can join wildlife conservation for the future of this land, for the future of the future generations. I think they did what we say, you know, teach a person how to fish instead of providing a fish. So they taught us how to fish. And from there, we are not being driven by Lewa anymore, or any white person or any NGO. Lewa is still a great, great neighbor. So we need each other. But we're not really dependent of each other anymore. We value the game, we value the animals, and we know where we're heading to.
And just like that, after months of drought throughout Kenya, rain.
I was told, since I'm Kamau from America, I brought the rain.
Right?
Yeah.
Well done.
Bringer of rain.
Yeah.
Who gets to tell the stories? This is a question asked often. The answer in this case, for better or for worse, is I do. At least this time out. I do my best. I look, I listen. But in the end, I know it's my story, not Kamau's, not Kenya's, or Kenyans. Those stories are yet to be heard. Welcome to the enchanted, seldom visited wonderland of Asturias. That's in Spain, if you didn't know. And of course, because it's Spain, I did not come here alone. I came here with a good friend, great chef. He's a complicated man. Nobody understands him but his woman. And I'm not talking about John Shaft. Shut your mouth. I'm talking about José Andrés.
Yeah, another beer. Why? Shit, Anthony's waiting.
The only chef in the history of America ever to be sued by a sitting president. So proud of him.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
You know, sometimes we have a hard time living the comfort of the known. And we don't understand that life only starts at the edge of the unknown. That's when life starts. I've been an immigrant all my life. From Asturias to Catalonia, from Catalonia to Madrid. Then I landed in America. I've been in the States more than 26 years of my life. More than half of my life I've been there. I think everybody should be always finding the place they come from. Asturias, I left when I was 5. A lot of people will not have a lot of memories before 5, but I do have them. And me, I always feel in Spain like so proud I am Spaniard. That's why for me coming back here is to understanding that yes, I'm from here, but I have to work hard to belong.
¿Cantamos Asturias, patria querida? Asturias, patria querida. Asturias de mis amores. ¿Quién estuviera en Asturias? Tengo de subir al árbol, vengo de coger la flor y dársela a mi morena, que la ponga en el balcón. ponga en el balcón, que la deixé de poner, tengo de subir al árbol y una flor he de coger. ¡Puxa Asturias! ¡Viva Asturias!
Astonishing. Unbelievable.
I always wanted to do it. It's like...
Try that in New York. So, a question. When you were a kid, after you left here at age 5, how often did you visit?
It took me many, many years. Almost like 12, 14 years to come back. You know. Because to me, when I left so young, it's almost like meeting a family you knew you had, but you never met. Still, nothing beats these moments. Always is something happening.
What do you eat here? What's good here?
Everything.
What do you eat?
Here right now is the season of arvejos, which is the green peas. And right now is the season. And they love these green peas here in season. And they serve them with ham.
Oh, this looks amazing.
Arvejos. It's perfect.
Oh.
Croquette. Everybody says that Asturias has the best croquetas anywhere in Spain. Even everybody can argue.
Really? Everybody says that?
Everybody, especially the people in Asturias.
Yeah, I would guess.
You see how creamy? Good taste. Mussels. Perfect. They make a great steak done with blue cheese, right on top. Cabrales on top of the steak. It's kind of the sauce happens right on the plate.
Okay.
It's amazing. ¿Tienes queso entero?
Sí, posible.
Tráemelo entero, corre. Un par de cortes.
So you want the whole cheese to spoon?
Yeah, it's heavy, huh? It's heavy. Is it spicy?
Oh, no, I like spicy.
¿Eh? No, hablo un poco, coño.
José.
I love all the opinions. Everybody is highly opinionated, as it should be. And nobody's going to agree with anybody, only because why to agree?
Any place where people argue about food is a good place. So once a year, twice a year you come?
Yeah, at least once a year. But sometimes I only show up for 2-3 hours.
Really?
Yeah. I close the eyes, I breathe in, breathe out, and it's like I'm home. Especially when I go in the mountains. I love to be around people because I have a lot of energy, and I like to feed off the energy of the people too and give energy away.
Right.
But sometimes I need my moments of solitude. I know you like moments of solitude too. They're powerful moments.
Yeah, but I'm not walking up a mountain.
Yeah, you'll see, and I'm gonna be taking you probably to the heart of Asturias.
Oh yeah?
Where is where I feel the happiest.
So I gotta hike up a mountain? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'll make it easy on you. Okay, we need more cider. Oye, que te lo dé de vuelta, macho. We're going deep, deep.
Through the mountain.
Through the mountain. It's always deep. Can you imagine? Less than 20 years ago, people had to walk all the way to the top.
Wow.
Allá en la mina. It's a hot day today.
Yeah.
Perdió su vida. I came overdressed, man.
Jesus.
Okay, are you hungry now?
Oh my God, are we there?
Yeah, well, that's the town. You're gonna see what the people of the mountain used to eat. Beans.
Well, to quote the great American poet Robert Frost, beans, beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. The more you toot, the better you feel, so eat some beans with every meal.
That's the reason coming up here.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I expect to be accosted by some Keebler elves at any moment. We welcome you to Munchkin Land, Munchkin Land.
It moves. Oh. You see here in Asturias, nothing is plentiful. And the people of Asturias, even in the hard times, they know what to do with nothing. And I think Asturias has been a land that with nothing has able to do a lot. And that shows you the character of the people of Asturias.
So I'll tell you, 5-hour hike up the mountain, it's tough. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this cold one.
Boom.
I'll tell you.
Can you imagine when people that live here, the only way to go down and up and bring things was walking 3-4 hours?
I could well imagine. How long was that hike from the funicular to here? What, 4 hours?
No, it was like...
God, I was not sure I was going to make it.
Like 10 minutes, maybe 20. You're in very good shape, come on. This is nothing. And to eat this kind of food, we need to put some exercise always before.
Oh, wow.
Muchas gracias. What is amazing is that if I ask you, what do you think this is? An appetizer or is a main course?
Right.
Many people would say that's a main course. I mean, it's fatty, it's heavy. Well, we eat this in Asturias as an appetizer, the first course.
Wow, and it's fabada?
Fabada.
Fabada.
Fabada. It's very difficult to define a region by a dish, but without a doubt, Asturias is defined by this dish, fabada.
Deep, deep, soulful cooking.
And you have to meet Guillermina. Probably she's inside. Guillermina is a very special person, 101 years old. And she's not in the kitchen anymore, but until not too long ago, she was. In this DNA, it seems that kitchens are manned by men. We don't realize who is feeding humanity are women. In a woman like Guillermina, I see very much that. She's the only one that could be up there in that place at the end of the world, feeding the few that will arrive there to give them enough energy to go back.
These beans really are magical beans.
Because they are special.
Yeah.
Same seeds anywhere else, but they don't grow the same way they grow here.
Mm-hmm.
It's something about this land and the weather and the altitude that makes these beans very special.
Tastes like it did when it was just little José up here in his later hosen. Tastes the same?
Tastes the same.
You happy?
This is as good.
I'm happy too.
This is as good. And it's worth the walk. I mean, you show all of us that it's worth it go to the end of the world for the right food. And for the right stories.
Well, in this case, yes.
I've seen these often. I've never played in my life.
Por ejemplo, el primer bolu de esta fila es 0.
La línea, vale.
It has to be over the line.
Over the line, very important.
Right. Okay.
So it has to hit that circle. We know that.
All right. Yeah. But it's okay if you hit any pin.
Perfecto.
But it can bounce.
It can bounce, yeah.
Las vueltas. La bola tiene que venir trabajada para que dé
The ball has to go spinning. So when it touches, the spin will take the ball.
De la manera
Right, I can do that. Probably not.
Luego con una y ahora tira con otra.
Más alta es mejor. Es asturiano. I cannot believe this is the first time. Yes, sí, vámonos.
A mí, dame a mí. ¡Eso! ¡4! Muy bien.
All right. Not bad.
¿Cuánto?
Okay.
Bueno. Ahora.
Look at. With the hand, little bit of a spin. La madre que parió al fin. 3 points.
This game is rigged.
That was a heck of a good shot, man.
Oh, too much.
It's through.
They're taking shelter.
Asturias is really, to a degree, it's a land of plenty, but to a degree, it's not. It's not what you want when you want it. It's when the land wants to give it to you. The river, the mountains, the sea. You have to respect the land first, and maybe then the land wants to give you something. Asturias, many of the restaurants you're gonna go, you're gonna get that feeling. It is something beyond just the plate you have in front of you. It's the understanding of the happiness that hardship gives you.
So we're drinking cider?
That's what we should be drinking.
That goes good with the seafood?
The biggest partnership in the history of mankind.
Wow,
By
strong
far.
words.
Yeah. To me, this is probably one of the most difficult things to do. Look at how he's hitting the rim of the glass. Look at all the oxygen that they're putting. Look at, I mean, I love this tradition. And he doesn't even look at the glass. Come on, he's like a Jedi. Venga.
That's beautiful.
Oricios, sea urchin.
Yeah.
You know what? I kill for this.
Holy crap. This is one of my favorite things on earth, good sea urchin.
Me too. Probably this is one of the best animals we have in the ocean.
Right.
Orifios.
Orifios.
Traditionally, I like to eat them raw. But in Asturias, the vast majority of the people, they like them put into water for a few seconds. This is plancha. And this is very much the cooking of Spain, the cooking of Asturias. The seafood will be raw, will be slightly boiled, or will be done on the flat top.
Quick.
Fast.
Right.
The centollo, the spider crab.
Oh,
What is the Instagram?
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on it, dude. I'm getting a zoom shot. People complain about my pants, but I'm going in for a zoom. Going in for the close.
Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, my man.
This
is unbelievable.
what I'm talking
This is one of the best centollos I've seen in a long time.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Are you smelling? Smell this. Smell.
Yeah.
You understand? This is the smell of seafood. Sometimes we forget that doesn't matter how good is the seafood or fresh. I don't care if it's the catch of the day. If it's overcooked, it's gone. ¿Han llegado percebes?
We got percebes.
Gooseneck barnacles.
Sweet. All right.
All right.
Now we're going swimming for those things later?
You want to?
What do you just dive right in with a Speedo and rip them off the wall, right?
Yep.
Easy.
You have to respect the sea. These guys put their lives at risk to bring the precious gooseneck barnacles to the tables. But it's a flavor like no other. Sometimes I feel like, wow, we don't appreciate enough when we eat these foods, how much goes into it. Without those fishermen, we wouldn't be having what we have. So you like the cider?
Yes, this is quite delicious.
You see how apples and seafood go hand by hand, because this is very acidic, has nice acidity, goes so well with the saltiness. It's unbelievable. It's a perfect match.
Ebony and ivory living together in harmony.
Where you come up with this phrase?
That's, I think, Sir Paul McCartney. One of his more insipid lines. You told me Asturias was beautiful, but man, you didn't lie. It is amazing. I can't believe these like farmhouses all the way up these mountains.
There are no farmhouses. It's where the shepherds stay for weeks at a time, sometimes taking care of the herd, of the goats, of the sheep, of the cows. The cheeses are made with the 3 milks. Asturias has the biggest concentration of cheesemakers anywhere in the world, period. And we use the land like nobody. Especially using the caves to cure them is brilliant. There's not a lot of places in the world that you have something like this. Caves that produce for centuries amazing cheese.
Do you think you could do a cheese-themed, like, theme park?
That can be fun, you know.
Giant volcano of cheese. Take little boats around in a fondue pot.
I don't know, but you know what I think sometimes?
Yeah.
You know Apocalypse Now?
Yes.
When Marlon Brando, I don't remember what was the name of the...
Kurtz, Colonel Kurtz?
Yeah!
Walter E. Kurtz.
And they finally find him living in that cave.
Right.
I always dream like one day I'm gonna end in a place like this.
But just surrounded by cheese. It'll be
surrounded by cheese and living alone. And maybe one day my friend Eric Rippert and Tony Bourdain visiting me before I lose control of my mind.
So wait a minute, I'm seeing this. You're dressed all in black. We shave your head. You're sitting in this dark cheese cave. Eric Repair playing Corporal Willard comes to kill you. Finds you surrounded by all of these fantastic cheeses. I'd play the Dennis Hopper role, of course.
It's gonna happen. I see it happening.
Have you ever seen a sail crawl across the edge of a street racer?
I can just see Eric now dressed in fatigue saying, they said your methods are unsound.
Man, why you always finish your beer and I barely begin?
Professional. I'm seriously liking this cheese. You export these, right?
Spain, oh yeah, big export.
Yeah. Right.
Like this one is Cabrales, which always was my favorite.
That is like super funky, right?
Cabrales, I love it. I do really love Cabrales.
This is really lovely. This is fantastic. It all depends on how far into the funk zone you go.
Look at this. It's almost like green bluish. It's almost like the sky and the grass are touching each other right on the cheese. I mean, and you know one thing? It's full of penicillin, man. Nobody gets ever sick if you really eat these cheeses.
I feel my syphilis clearing up.
Man! All right, cut!
So please explain to me. This gentleman caught the fish last year, is that correct?
2014.
In 2014, you got El Campano.
Yes, yes.
So that means what? The first salmon caught on the river.
El Campano, the first salmon of the season. Yeah, Campano. Today, for the entire day, around the rivers of Asturias, hundreds of fishermen trying to get the permit in a kind of an auction, in a kind of a lottery, where they are gonna grant them certain parts of the river, and only for 30 minutes, 1 hour at a time, depending how many fishermen show up.
No commercial fishing.
No se vende, ¿verdad?
Only the company.
The old days, salmon was plentiful. And the first salmon is called El Campano, and El Campano means really from the bells that will ring on the churches near the river where the salmon was caught. Not as a celebration of the salmon, but as a way to tell everybody that salmons are back. Let's go back to the river and fish them, because that's the food we are waiting for. I get super emotional when I think, take a look at all these photos. I remember watching those same photos of my grandfather hunting and fishing and catching salmons. And this to me, being here in this moment, becomes really personal.
I hear a rumor you're looking to buy a fish today? You're looking to buy, to bid on the first?
Listen to me. Bourdain and Andrés.
Oh, yeah. You looking to get B on this?
B and A. El Campano. Between you and me, we can afford it, no?
And I'm in for 50% of this fish. Now, what's the highest price paid for first fish of the season?
For Campano, between 6, 7, 8,000?
18 euros.
18,000
euros.
18,000 euros. I'm out. Some local guy is going to jack the price. He's going to keep bidding until you're up to like 22.
Anthony Bourdain, what are you talking about? What are you doing with your money?
What am I going to do with the fish?
Drink beer? We're going to, come on, we're going to eat it, you know.
Damn. It's a lot of money.
Tony.
They are delicious.
Down, let's do it.
All right. I'm in. What else we got here?
We're gonna eat plenty of food. You know, Tony... Tony is Tony. It's easy to love Tony. He's a good guy. Super shy. That's why I believe sometimes the side of Tony that people don't even know. He seems like he doesn't care about anything but himself. But then you can see it. He's the most caring person I've ever met. That's why I'm happy and proud to call him a friend.
I wonder where José is.
Oh, yeah. Ah, my hair.
Hope he's getting some rest.
This is nuts. Joder.
Wow. This traditional local dish, I guess?
Yes, yes, yes.
What's this called?
Well, I think that pitu de calella,
right.
Pitu with rice.
Ah, all right. So, born and bred in Asturias. You were born here.
Yes, yes, yes.
What did your family? What business was your family in?
Well, my grandparents were all in the mine. My mother in a little shop, and my father a teacher.
What are the typical characteristics of someone from Asturias? Okay, independent, tough.
Well, there is another sentence: is Asturiano, borracho, loco, y malcristiano.
Drunk,
Asturian,
crazy,
drunk,
and
crazy,
Christian.
but Christian. That is important.
So, fair to say, a tradition of independence.
Yes. Before the Spanish Civil War, we have the Asturian Revolution. That Asturias during 1 month was independent because we have a communist anarchist revolution.
Mm-hmm.
The worker movement here was massive.
In the mines. Mostly coming out of mines and organized labor.
Yes, but of course, worker class fight is over. They win. We lose.
Traigo la camisa roja.
Problem with the miners, it starts when the Soviet Union was over, and then in Europe, the social democracy was over. And the last strike was 5 years ago. The miners were the last soldiers of worker class movement. In the last strike, the airport was closed by the miners. The highway, the C2, they closed Asturias. Everybody in the streets, like, screaming. The miners stay in the fight, and the war is over when one side wins. They win. We lose. And for me, that was like the end of
the end of organized labor.
Yeah, the end of the worker class left.
But still, you're here.
Yeah.
The war is over, but you're here.
Well, you can create some money, some conditions to survive, but not a properly job. The only way to make money for me was play music. So now I'm a musician. I think that for my music, it's good to stay here. Here I have the truth. For me, that is very important.
I just heard bagpipes. Have you been invaded by Scotland?
Well, we are one of the 8 Celtic nations. With Wales, Bretagne, France, and Scotland and Ireland, we are Celtic nations. Here, there is a kind of song that is called tonada. And tonada is just voice and bagpipe. And it's like the music from the people who work with the cows.
Right, folk songs.
Yeah, folk songs. I think that music is about identity. I spend a lot of time with my grandparents. They listen a lot of Celtic music. I had the luck to live that kind of music and discover my identity. And I think that Celtic spirit of freedom is part of Asturian identity.
Okay, we do another shot or what? Yeah, we should do another shot. You don't have to do it.
I'll do it, I'll do it.
Good. Boom. Ah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a rojo.
I've tasted this in one form or another all over the world.
That's the local moonshine.
That's good.
Tony, I have a surprise for you.
You finally got a salmon.
The fuck? Don't move. ¿Qué pasa, hombre? Lo que he conseguido, tío. No oí el campano, pero we searched for it and we found it. ¿Sabes la ilusión que me...
The magical salmon. 4,000 euros a bite.
No, this one was given to me. I got somebody that got a salmon. He's super generous. He said, you know, you want salmon? Here. Friends feed friends. There's no way that you come to Asturias and you go without a bite of the salmon. This is gonna surprise you because usually everybody always said, the fish, we need to grill it whole.
Right.
He breaks the fish in pieces. He cuts all the pieces through. Why?
Grills them separately.
Separately. And over the flesh, because the skin is full of fat, and you don't want that fat to burn. You want that fat to melt.
Stay inside in the Spanish way.
And you want to maintain the integrity of the skin. So he grills the fish over the flesh, and then probably the skin is better than the flesh itself. It's unbelievable.
Muy bien. Gracias. Buen provecho. Oh my God.
Wow. Wow.
Is everything I told you?
It's everything you told me. the fat's ethereally suspended somehow between skin, flesh, and bone.
Bone.
You bite into it, and just a flood of flavor explodes in your brain pan.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Jose, this is an enchanted country.
Keep going.
And in fact, this region of the country is the most extraordinary place.
Give me the dollar. Where are the dollars? Dollar bill.
The mountains, the sea, it's amazing.
Use, I'm throwing you the bills. If I had hundreds.
You stuff it in the G-string, my friend.
We're so close to a white. I cannot.
Okay, no, I'll let you say it. What do we say about now? Well, no. First, we take one more satisfied bite. This is how it works.
I think I got the fucking bone in my throat.
Tracheotomy. I'm coming. I think we've learned something here in Asturias. I don't know why I didn't expect it to be this beautiful, but it is far more beautiful than I could have ever imagined. The food is incredible. The people are wonderful. You were right about fucking everything. You call it, my friend, turn to the camera, and say the magic word.
I am not Anthony Bourdain, but I'm calling wild. That's the end of the show.
New York City during the 1970s was a beautiful, ravaged slag. Impoverished and neglected after suffering from decades of abuse and battery. She stunk of sewage, sex, rotting fish, and day-old diapers. She leaked from every pore. We were howling with delight, laughing like lunatics in the madhouse that was New York City. Thrilled to be rubbing up against the freaks and other outcasts who had all decided to run to Land's End and scream their bloody heads off.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Nothing but a bunch of crackhead, dope fiends, and motherfuckers.
This is a show about a very special place, a very special time, and some very special people. So much happened, so much began on New York's Lower East Side. In the New York City of the 70s, nearly bankrupt, riddled with corruption, the Lower East Side, particularly Alphabet City, was left to fend for itself. Huge swaths of it abandoned, ruined, or simply empty. Much of it became an open-air supermarket for drugs, whole blocks taken over by organized drug gangs. Rents were cheap, and the neighborhood started to attract a newer, highly energized and creative group of people who wanted to make things. Music, poetry, movies, and art. It seemed at the time everybody was a star, and for a while at least, that it was a golden time. But it was dangerous. You lived down here, you had to be tough and talented, and often very quick. Now, things are different. Very different.
Everybody together, ready? 1, 2, 3. Pick those feet up 6 inches and hold. Bring that arm over, pin the wrist. Let's go. Is everybody clear? Yeah. I can't hear you. Yeah. Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. So, I mean, this is pretty much some of the last remnants of what the Lower East Side kind of used to be like, you know? Good old school, no elevator.
So you didn't live in this building?
No, this wasn't the building I lived in. This is a squat, though, that actually became legal. I was actually in that building right there. When I lived in it, it was, you know, we had no windows, no front doors. You know, you'd find a door in the street, you'd put it up and chain it up yourself, you know. No running water. I used to bathe in the fire hydrant in front of the building, and I used to sleep with my pit bull so rats wouldn't get too close to me at night, right. You know. My main problem growing up down here was that I lived on a gang block.
Right.
The gang on my block was called the Hitmen. And, you know, they were no joke, right? And I remember they would be hanging out on the stoop on the church across the street, smoking dust, all of them with their golf clubs and 007 knives, and everybody'd be listening to, of all things, Kraftwerk.
Right.
They'd be out there screaming, "We're gonna kill the next that comes out of that building," and I'm laying there thinking, "Wow, I gotta go to school tomorrow, man." I was never a violent person. You know, Christ, I was raised by hippies. But I was thrown into a crazy environment where I had no choice but to fight my way through it. And it did turn me into a bit of a problem as a teenager, you know?
I would guess. Wait a minute, I have to guess. I know. First time I saw you, you were famously that 12-year-old drummer in the Stimulators. Your aunt was in the band.
Yeah. That was the only reason we were allowed to play at most of the clubs, is because I had a relative who was basically my legal guardian. But, you know, as a parent, it definitely wasn't an appropriate place to bring up your kids, you know?
You came here first as a writer, as a poet. New York, in your mind, was where the writer's life was?
Yeah, well, it was just the place that had the most stimulation.
Was music even in the back of your head, or was poetry and writing?
My model was Dylan Thomas there when I was a teenager, you know, so being a drunken womanizer, that was my ambition.
Woke up in your own lifetime, opened up a paper, and realized there's like 1 million kids in Britain dressing like me and cutting their hair like me. And you have this inadvertent tectonic effect on kids all over the world.
It wasn't inadvertent, but it was indirect. I mean, I wanted to have that effect. Other bands who responded to the way I was doing things got famous. So it ended up having this huge impact and influence. When I first saw a picture of the Sex Pistols, it was like, I just had to laugh.
That's a charitable interpretation of events. Malcolm McLaren came to New York and saw the Voidoids and went back and built a boy band and said, you're going to dress like that guy.
Yeah, I don't really look at it that way.
Look at it?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, ideas are free. I never resented that, but it was funny and strange.
Cheap Rent brought a lot of people together. It wasn't just living spaces were cheap. There were venues where you could put whatever it was you did out there. Where you...
CBGBs didn't exist until we created it. I mean, we went and proposed that we be the house band there.
The next number is called I Belong to the Blank Generation. 1, 2, 3.
Do we over-romanticize that period? Was it special?
I think the creation of the mythology of the 70s kind of began about in the mid-90s. I can see why people who weren't there wish they were there, but it goes against all my instincts to think that way, just because the idea is we didn't like where things were, so we decided to change them.
Have you ever considered writing a dishy memoir? I mean, my God, it would be 800 pages long.
You know why? Because so many people are still alive.
I mean, people love you.
Yeah. They have to say that. How can you say something mean about somebody who might be mean back at you?
It's an industry. Are you kidding me?
What was it like the first time you saw Iggy? And I didn't see him. I heard the music from down the hall. I mean, I thought, this is the rock and roll I always wanted to hear. Something that was this fierce, and yet you could sense there was a tune there.
When I bought Funhouse in high school, I was immediately ostracized.
Yeah.
This was defining music, and normal people didn't like it.
The Ramones met because they were poor outcasts in a high school with 5,000 people who liked Funhouse.
Right.
Okay? They had it all figured out that they would sell as many records as the great record sellers would sell. And in a few years, they would have so much money that they would retire and never have to work again.
Right.
That's what. They had to stay on the road for another
25 years.
Yes. Do you know where the greatest financial success has come from? Hey Ho, Let's Go.
Right.
Sung in football and soccer stadiums around the world. The Ramones estates are gathering in more money from 5 seconds than they ever made in the... Is that the measure of greatness or eternity? It's one of them.
So many people died. So many people didn't get recognized.
Yeah.
Richard Hill's still living in the same apartment he lived in 40 years ago.
Who likes to move in New York? He got a good deal. The neighborhood got all better around him, you know. Iggy was supposed to be the one who didn't make it most of all. And he's still there, the most dangerous. God sends us these signs that there are miracles. Don't give up hope. What you believe is beautiful probably is, but not everyone will know it in time.
How hard was it to, if you're coming to New York, a section of New York that's completely broke, you are broke, you're going to be an artist, and not just art, but fairly confrontational. How committed do you have to be to do that, particularly at that time?
I think that, contrarily, it hasn't been that hard. I feel like I've been very fortunate to have got to stay alive here. So, and I have everything I need. Look around us. It's a wonderful amusement park of good and bad ideas all happening at once. You know how people immigrate here to start a new life and to dream big? I felt like I needed to do that as well, just like the way the people did at the turn of the century. You moved to New York to immigrate to a new land, to start a new life. And that's really what the Lower East Side is all about.
Who thrilled you back then? Who was doing stuff that you just thought, holy shit, this is really incredible and inspiring?
Well, gosh, luckily, my friends that I was working with were very inspiring. I loved Joe Coleman's work.
The Lower East Side at that time was a destination for me. There was something, that compelled me, to just be there. And I would paint it. Squeeze in.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Oh, yes, you were telling me about this guy.
Yeah. And here, if you want to use this.
It's beautiful.
All the paintings are novels, so it's a dense story, and the more that you look, the more that you learn. And it's in non-linear time, like you're exploring, at your own pace, whatever you want to look at, and someone else might start in a different place, and, it might tell a different story.
The performance art, at what point you came to paint, or did you come to paint?
No, I came to paint, but the paintings were like implosions where I was studying the world around me and myself inside, and the performances became literal explosions. I learned violence from my old man, so I was angry. When your house is on fire, you don't read poetry and you don't, sing a folk song. You gotta scream.
I missed all the great art at the time. I came for heroin, I came for music. Other than that, I didn't live here. But man, a lot of people didn't make it. And I remember, I guess around 1980, It's like something is happening and no one knows what it is.
You mean the AIDS? Yeah, yeah. A lot of that time exists in my mind like a dream, like an opium dream. I have these people that I love that would just like drop out and fall out. I'm a little bit sad that I wasn't there. I wasn't present, you know, for them because I was too off in this other world. But for me, it was still something of great beauty. See, that time, you have Wall Street tycoons fighting for huge amounts of wealth, and you have like bums, you know, fighting over like pennies. And it has like a primal, like, awe.
This is one of the places like Keith Haring and I would love to come here. Jean-Michel would join us, and we would have good meals here on the regular. And it was consistently the exact, you know, it's great when you can go to some place they have the exact same food. Come on, this is it.
Still the same?
Still exactly the same.
That's encouraging.
Which is great. It's great.
You brought hip-hop culture to a very finite number of people initially on the Lower East Side. Totally changed the world.
Teenagers at that time, we're doing something interesting, so I wanted to find some people that would listen to these ideas. And that's what led me to the Lower East Side and to connect with...
I guess you met Glenn O'Brien.
Glenn O'Brien, yeah.
Hi, and welcome to TV Party. Fred, why don't you tell us a little bit about what the Holy Land looks like?
I want you to know that I've been to the Holy Land. And the Holy Land is so funky. It's funky, brother. It's funky.
And through that connection is where I met all these people that listened to all these ideas I had. And that was David Byrne, Chris Stein, and Debbie Harry, and so many amazing people that were just like, yeah, tell me more.
What I think is under-celebrated about you guys in particular was your kindness. You were famously really, really supportive of the people you came up with, your contemporaries and people around you who weren't doing as well. You know, let each other sleep on each other's floors.
Well, there was nothing at stake.
There was nothing at stake. I just think a lot of people had low expectations. You didn't. I mean, you had a plan.
Well, no, if we had a plan, we would have made more money and not got so completely fucked over by the industry, as it were.
We had a plan to survive.
Yeah, I mean,
we had a plan to keep going doggedly. I think the thing that was so attractive about that period was you weren't locked in to one format or one form, you know? It was just everybody was doing everything.
You introduced the entirely revolutionary notion that street art was, in fact, really art.
The painting that we did on the street was coming from a place that pop art came from as well, like popular culture, magazines, advertising, comics. And so some of the first people to buy paintings from me and Jean-Michel was Chris and Debbie from Blondie. And then they also commissioned me, Lee Quinones, and Jean-Michel to do sets and art and participate in their music videos, some of the very first.
Your support and work with Fab Five Freddy, I mean, look at the soundtrack to the whole world now. It's hip-hop. That connection, that crossover there, you got to put considerable muscle and gravitas.
I talked to all these record company guys, and I'd say 98% of them told me it was a fad.
It's not gonna last.
It's gonna go away in 5 years.
And you recorded a song that was hugely...
Well, I will say, you know, like, I'm very proud of the fact that, you know, we created a format that didn't exist in rap until then, and that is that we wrote a song that had a rap in it.
Yeah, those guys were sampling still.
The rapping was all just scratching and sampling, so we, you know, made it viably commercial.
And then, you know, yet another earth-shattering event, a Wild Style.
I had an idea that if we could make a movie and show that this rapping, this dancing, and this DJing was one thing. So I was on a trip to Germany not long after the film had aired, and I see these kids breakdancing. I'm like, what the hell's going on? As I got closer, I noticed the moves the kids were doing were the exact same moves that the Rocksteady crew does in Wild Style. But I then knew that this was going to translate globally.
I remember that film opening, and that was a nuclear bomb. And it ended up being like the second highest grossing.
Second to Terms of Endearment, which not many people think about now, but yeah. We did well.
Well, you know, you gotta love that moment of corporate terror in the film industry when people are looking at the weekend grosses and it's like, what's this? Who is this audience that did not appear in our metrics?
No, it was a great, great experience.
You started making films before you knew how to make films.
Yeah, yeah. The oddball thing about it is knowing so little, who knew that you could hire a casting director? No, it was just like, hey, you play that, you know. Hey,
which one of our friends are going to be around
exactly.
for this?
Are you going to be around next Tuesday? Because, you know. I saw myself more as like an experimental filmmaker. You know, like the Godard films, for example. They were inspiring because I could say, I could do that.
I owe a lot to Amos. No, I saw The Foreigner. It was amazing. It was the whole scene was there. Everybody was there. It was
that was a big night.
I got so charged up, and I was sure I was going to make films.
And your first film was a student film.
NYU Film School made a mistake. So I had a $12,000 budget for my first film.
Which is enormous for the time.
It was huge for me, but the root of the word amateur is the love of a form. And professional means you are doing it for money. I still hope that I consider myself an amateur, for sure.
So yeah, so what do you think now when you walk around the neighborhood? You know, you paid some dues to walk down back in the day, and now it's projectile vomiting frat boys with baseball caps on backwards. Does this give you a sinking feeling, make you angry, or
I wish I would have bought real estate, that's for sure.
The thing that I always tell myself is look at the history of New York City, and it's always about hustling and change. And if you want it to stay the same, man, you got the wrong historical spot because there used to be a Native American trading post on the tip of Manhattan. It's now Wall Street, you know?
I just don't want to go out in the streets no more. I just don't want to go out in the streets no more. Because these people, they give me the creeps anymore. Too many creeps, 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 too many creeps. Yeah.
Want to come in for a minute?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to take a peek. I'd be interested to look at your dope bags.
Yeah, here's some. This is from early 80s.
Oh, wow. Airmail.
Airmail.
Okay, 12th Street.
Yep.
Might have been a little bit more glasses on for this.
Yeah. It's a treasure.
DOA, I remember.
Poison, you must remember.
Poison, yes, of course. Evidence, you were a Psycho. I remember all of those. Toilet.
There it is. Classic, right?
You know, you knew you were doing something bad when you bought a product called Toilet and, you know, shot it in your arm or... Oh, man, memories.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, your reputation is the Godfather archivist of all things Lower East Side. You were here pointing your camera at stuff since the early 80s.
I probably have one of the largest inner city photograph collections of anybody. I used to know everybody that went by. And that neighborhood thing is like really important to me. So I photographed the Puerto Ricans, the Dominicans, drag queens from the Pyramid Club, basically the whole hardcore scene in '87. I was more interested in like the eccentric people, the unique people.
You were at the Battle of Tompkins Square Park, which is sort of the Gettysburg of the Lower East Side. I remember it had essentially become clogged with nodding junkies,
right.
Homeless people who'd set up a permanent camp.
It was dangerous.
It was genuinely dangerous. When the police came down and decided to clean the park, the question is, who won?
Well, in the beginning, we did. You know, you have to remember, in 1988, they couldn't close a 10.5-acre square park on the Lower East Side. That was 450 riot cops, horses, helicopters, they couldn't do it. There were big bonfires in the middle of Avenue A, buses couldn't come down, cars couldn't down, it was stuck.
You were on the news a lot, I remember.
A lot,
you were the most, like, despised man in...
yes.
I mean, in NYPD,
Yeah.
you were not their favorite photographer, let's put it that
way. This went on for 4 years. There were multiple riots, hundreds of arrests. 4 years here, a real solid conflict. Cops eventually got organized.
I remember Tompkins Square. After the police fenced it off, it was, in a lot of people's minds, the end of an era.
And yeah, when they cleared off the drugs, a lot of people think, hey, great, we're now going to have a neighborhood and everything's going to be safe. And then in came the gentrification. So the whole concept of America is being wiped out because you can't pull yourself up by the bootstraps anymore because you can't get in the game. Gentrification has affected the whole city. You have to now make a huge amount of money to be here. You know, they got skyscrapers in Midtown that are sold millions of dollars apartments and nobody lives in, and they're empty.
I live in one of those big empty buildings with absentee owners. Is that all that's going to be left in New York?
Yes. New York, there was always something that brought it back. But once you fill it with the corporate world, it's never going back. So we turned a corner that we will never go back again. And so it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
You know I have my eye on the octopus.
Okay, then I'm going to go straight into the...
Straight. You're gonna go straight. You're finally going straight.
Little
Oh
too
my
late
God,
for that.
I'm impressed. Can you verify exactly what straight means?
Fuck if I know.
No way, honey. Even when you're straight, you're not straight.
Did you expect to make a living from your art?
Of course not.
I mean, at no point.
No. I just was happy I didn't have to suck dick in an Iranian shoe store. First of all, I thought I would come to New York to do spoken word, but spoken word didn't really exist. So I started Teenage Jesus and the Jerks. I had to really make the most hideous yet precise din I possibly could as a tantrum against all of music and all of society.
There were a lot of freakish, never could have happened at any other time. It seems to me bands who had a ready-made audience. Okay, as you did to an extent, you could basically say, I am a rock star.
Well,
I'm
no,
gonna
hey,
dress
wait,
I am a
back.
star.
No.
And-
First of all, I never said I was a fucking star.
No, but I mean, not by word, but by deed and
I
deportment.
didn't walk into any place thinking I'm a star. I walked in thinking I had shit to do. I wouldn't say I was a catalyst, I'd say I was a cattle prod. To get people to do shows, booking shows, curating shows, it's just what I do. It's like, let's go, let's do it. And when people would ask me to do things, I'd be like, yeah, I want to do it, of course. People were beautiful, doing things because they had to do it, not because of any other grand idea.
So what made you happy back then? I mean, did you have any happy moments?
Happiness was not the goal. Satisfaction was the goal, as it still is. My anger is on a global level. It's never on a personal level. I'm very happy.
Right.
I'm happy to have octopus with you tonight, my dear. When was the last time you had something this good in your mouth? I know you eat well, but this is like...
That's been a while. This is pretty incredible. You were featured prominently in many of the best-known films of the era.
Most of which sucked. I was trying to be a reflection of the reality at the time. This is why I made the films I made, especially with Richard Curtis.
Just drop me off. Where are you taking me anyway?
My house.
So we did this horribly violent film called Fingered that was based on real things that had happened to me. It was not glamorous, it was not pretty. It was offensive, but I'm trying to work out my psychosexual problems because I know I'm not alone in them by making films and speeches that will address the situation that I know other people suffer from.
Okay, this was a film very influential, far beyond the
Well, we didn't think that when
imaginings
we did
at
it.
the time.
We didn't think that when we did it. We didn't give a shit. We just wanted to make a film and get it out there because we had to do something because we were burning and our blood was on fire.
Looking back, though, was it all that? Was it a golden period? Are you nostalgic?
No.
Okay.
I am golden. It's always a golden period for me. Look, we have a golden piece of asparagus. It's golden.
So, do you have any sense of?
No.
Oh, those are the good.
I fucking don't. Those were the bad old days, baby. You try living on pizza and black beauties. You try giving hand jobs under the table to take your first band to Europe. You want to go back to that? You go back to that. How were you living? I know the same. Hand them out.
So no sentimentality, no nostalgia at all.
I'm doing too much shit all the time. I still have shit to do. Why am I boo-hooing when I've just been on tour from October to the next October? I'm not stopping.
Youth? Would you want to go through that again, or is it
Youth?
that overrated?
Don't I look good for my age?
Oh,
Shit.
yeah.
Well, then what do you want from me? To me, I'm not living in the past because I'm living in the present. It's in New York. Get used to it. It has never changed. It had a golden moment here. Probably had a golden moment in the 40s, too. I'm not sure. I wasn't here. Maybe the 60s. We weren't here.
So it was all bullshit.
No, none of it was bullshit. It happens when it happens, and things change, and time is not what it once was, and it isn't anywhere. If you've done one thing, you're living in the past, and that's your glory day, that's your glory day. This is my glory day. I'm here talking to you eating octopus.
I try to make paintings that are so beautiful that I get lost in them while I'm doing them. And you just hope that other people get lost in it the same way.
You know, I have a John Lurie over my bed.
So you posted about that. It was nice that you posted that. And sometimes, you know, you get these letters and stuff. It's like, your painting saved my life, da-da-da. Yeah. But then sometimes, because I don't have any shows...
Oh, that's great.
It feels pathetic, you know?
Well, this is incredible to me.
What?
You don't have shows. Like,
That's
regularly.
insane, and it's sick, and it's wrong, and I don't even want to complain about it. You complain.
I'm complaining about it.
Yeah, okay.
I am bitter.
Because I'm going to die one day, and they're going to be worth a lot of money.
Right.
How I came to New York was like I was kind of like on this Coltrane thing. I wanted to find God through music. And I started meeting all these amazing people. They were irreverent. energy was enormous. And it was probably more fun than anybody's ever had in human history for about a year or two. But there was no discipline, which, I mean, I like people who can play their instrument like they just found it on the street, but they can't just do it once. They gotta work on it. I mean, I was a serious saxophone player. I came here as a saxophone player. I had to hide the fact that I know, right? I had to hide. I mean, I really did. I would practice for 2 hours every day, but I wouldn't tell people. So, these are eggs, which you could get, you know, at the store. If you live in a good neighborhood, they will even deliver them to your house. And then you take water, which I know you go to all these exotic places, but they used to say that New York had the best water.
That is true.
You think it's still true?
I haven't heard anything to say otherwise.
Do you drink it?
Yeah, I do.
And then you boil them. And then I serve them to you.
Outstanding. I am grateful and honored.
Well, I'm really curious because I've seen your show and I watch you sit down, you eat like some mouse head soup, and then you go, it's delicious. Just curious to see when you eat the hard-boiled egg if you're going to say this is delicious.
As long as there's not like half-term chicken fetus in there, which wouldn't be the first time for me, by the way, I'll be thrilled.
I'm not eating this shit. There's a plate.
Thank you. Eggs, the perfect food. Thank you, sir.
Eat that. I don't think I've ever cooked for anybody before.
Well, I'm honored, sir. So looking back, is there a danger of over-romanticizing that place and that time, given the downside and the body count?
I don't know. Does it have to end badly? I mean, I'm glad I survived it. I'm glad I still got my own liver. I'm glad I lived through it. But it's kind of, I don't know how to add that up. I'm sure glad I didn't miss it.
Doesn't pay to try. All the smart boys know why. Doesn't mean I didn't try. I just never know why. Feel so cold and all alone. Baby, you're not at home. And when I'm home, big deal, I'm still alone. You can't put your arm around the memory. You can't put your arm around the memory. You can't put your arm around the memory. Don't try. Don't try. You can't put your arm around the memory. You can't put your arm around the memory. You can't put your arm around the memory. You can't put your arm around the You didn't say the egg was delicious.
Oh, no,
You
you're
did
right.
not.
But I ate 2 of them. Silence
two
is
of
the
them?
highest compliment. Well, just the gnashing of my jaws on
didn't
those
say they were
delicious, delicious eggs.
one of the most rugged and remote destinations in the United States. Everything out here will bite, poke, or prick you. Everything. People live in cubicles and they're king of their domain. Out here, you ain't king of shit.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Stick around, tell your friends from the border to the basin out here in West Texas. Great to be here tonight.
The dream of the American West was you come out here, get your own little piece of paradise, you work hard, raise cattle, you make enough money to look after your family.
Sure, I'd love to cook you one.
This land, it's really for one thing, and that's producing livestock. They've tried to farm and it doesn't work, and except for beautiful views, that's what it can produce.
West Texas is a big band in this area. Are you the platonic ideal of the Texan? The American hero? Lone rider on a horse? Big empty spaces? Mexican music? Mexican food?
This is still where the punchiest cowboys in the United States are. It don't get no rougher.
I mean, we're 120 miles from the nearest Walmart, 40 miles to a tank of gas or a loaf of bread.
Out here, pretty much everything is 5 hours away.
And the property's been in the family how many generations now?
This is the 4th generation. 5th generation. My granddad came here in the 30s. Bodie's family came out here in 1880.
Not a lot of people left get to do this.
There's still a lot of cowboys, but it's hard to see from the highway.
The ranch is approximately 70,000 acres. We don't use anything other than a horse. No four-wheelers, no helicopters.
Forgive me for saying so, that seems a little stubborn. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as practicality,
He is so opposed to change.
That's not all bad, is it?
No.
I mean, these guys, they love it. I mean, they get up every morning and this is their office. He had his teeth kicked out
by
a cow.
Oof.
And then he got in that chute with the steer and knocked them all out again. Oh, there goes Evan. She's about to rope.
How old were you when you learned to ride?
Oh gosh.
She had a horse when she was 3.
3.
3.
Yeah. Evan shows horses all over. She is top 5 in the world right now.
In the cow horse, you have to show how well your horse can do, different maneuvers. And
here comes Levins.
How old?
He's 10. Watch this.
Damn.
Is that hilarious?
It's killing me.
Way to go, Levin!
Oh, sweet little hunter, my back into your side.
There we go.
The cabrito that we're eating yesterday was a live goat. We like it spicy, jalapenos and onions and, fresh tomatoes.
If you got a bunch of gringos, it's perfect.
How Mexican is West Texas? This is where it is.
On the other side of that mountain, 20 miles as the crow flies.
Those flavors, those sounds. That's yours also, right?
Oh, yeah. I learned to talk Spanish nearly before I learned to talk English.
It's the good vanilla from Mexico.
Old Mexico or New Mexico?
Old Mexico.
Chewy's mother comes from Mexico, south of Ojinaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long you guys been riding together?
Oh, me and him?
Yeah, you and him.
35 years.
It's an awesome way of life.
Jalapeno cheese grits.
Nice.
Of course, they're buttermilk biscuits.
This is an area of Texas that is legendary for whatever you might have thought you were going to do here, nature wins.
Always.
Always. Always.
It'll not rain for 20 years, and you just stay as long as you can, then it starts raining. Yeah.
So, how do you make a living?
Basically, dig in.
Work like hell and don't spend any money.
Yeah.
This table right here is filled with people who truly care about the land and what happens to it.
You just have to have the heart to stay and want to stay and do it and make something of it while you're here. If you got a weak heart, you won't last.
I mean, I'm graduating next year, and I'm gonna go to college, go through law school, finish, but I wanna come back out here. There are kids that are my age that will never see this, never have this, never be able to know people like this. And that's, I mean...
Priceless.
Yeah, how can you say no to that?
If you get to eat 3 good meals a day and be happy, being happy is more important than anything.
Allá en el rancho grande, allá donde viví. El gusto de los rancheros. De tener su buen caballo. De fiarlo por las tardes. Y dale vuelta el ganado, allá en el rancho grande, allá donde vivía.
So how else is the area changing? I drove for 3 hours through ghost towns, dead gas stations, and nothing but nothing, and, suddenly I arrive in Marfa. Like, would you like some bruschetta, some salumi, some $900 ponchos?
That's right.
What's going on?
Clearly, it's not the old family Marfa.
Marfa has become 3 distinct cultures: tourist town, art town, cowboy town. It's just got it all. You can get calamari in Marfa. Who'd have thunk it? 20 years ago, nobody even knew what the word meant.
Feels like
ever been into where a person next to me is petting a goat?
In here, sometimes
You get all types.
the dogs come in without their owners. As long as everybody behaves, whether you got 2 legs or 4, everything's good.
You've seen a bit of the world. You've seen a lot of the world.
I ran away from home a lot as a kid. And by the time I was 16, I got real good at it. I went to Alaska. And then I came back, joined the military, cowboy and roughnecking.
Running drugs and guns across the border?
I did run guns south, and the ATF knows. They got an open file.
What motivated you to get into the bar business?
Well, every cowboy has a dream of owning a saloon.
I did not know that. It's been around for some time under various.
Almost 100 years. There's many different cultures come through here. Hipsters, blue-collar city workers, and I wanted everybody to be able to have a good time, no matter who or what or where. There ain't gonna be but one intimidating sumbitch in my bar, and that's me.
You're seeing this town change in a lot of big ways. Every single person I've talked to down here is telling me the same thing. That wall ain't never getting built around here.
My ranch is on the river. It's on the border. We can't survive without the river. And we can't survive without the people on that side of the river. They can't survive without us.
Right.
That, and they're our friends, for God's sakes. Loyalty is a big thing in Texas, and you ain't gonna build a fence between me and my loyal friends.
Every old school Anglo rancher I've met here speaks Spanish fluently.
It's a mutual respect to speak a little Spanish. And it's respect for them to learn a little English. You know as well as I do, you go to Europe, it's not hard to find somebody in France speaking English.
Everybody.
They can, they don't mind. They're not offended. You know, Americans have a tendency to want to be all butthurt about it. Here, we're just not. That's just being a good human being.
Why is it so goddamn hard to be a good person these days?
Right now in Marfa, it's 75 degrees. Low tonight, only 61. Not that cool, honestly. I'm David Beebe with you till 1 a.m. It's time to go outside and look up at the stars and enjoy the place that you live.
This part of the state was always called El Despoblado, the unpopulated zone, which it never really was.
Born and bred here, near here?
Yeah, a couple 100 miles east, not far.
That's considered close right now.
Close, yeah. The forest still makes me uneasy.
Yeah.
Surrounded by trees, I get uneasy because I can't see. I can't see far enough.
Now, I guess unlike a lot of Texans who take a rather romantic view of those early days, you seem to view it in a darker prism.
It is dark. The story of Texas can get it gets a little too polished. It was a conquest, and people forget that. There were people here. The Spanish and the Mexican authorities wanted to exterminate the Apaches. They created the Society for the Extermination of the Barbarians.
So the classic cowboy and Indian film of scalp-hungry Indians was not really the case.
Well, they took scalps too, but they kind of learned from the Anglos. And then when the Texans came in, it intensified. If you were a rancher coming out here in the 1870s, you better have a lot of guns because you were an invader.
Right.
And the people you were invading knew you were an invader.
Oh, damn. You know, if you look at the legend of this place, you know, was it the history of violence and the harshness of the landscape that preserved it for so long?
Yeah. West Texas stayed wild, and it's still wild. People have lived in this landscape for 14,000 years. Through all these different nation states and empires that have swept over them, they persist.
We're gonna catch the arch of light that is gonna just envelop this motif right here that represents the place where the sun was born. Welcome to the White Shaman site. This is one of the oldest pictorial creation narratives in all of North America. The mural tells the story about the death of the sun, the sacrifice that takes place so that the sun can be reborn the next day. I had the honor of having a Huichol shaman come up from Mexico to this site, and he started weeping. And they said, they're all here. All of our grandfathers, 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 they're all here.
So here we are in Alpine, Texas, talking about the beginning of civilization on the North American continent. The earliest evidence of human existence in this area goes back how far?
Almost 15,000 years. The rock art in the Lower Pecos and along the Rio Grande encapsulates not only their religion, but the cosmos. Why you had constellations at certain times of the year, and where were they in relation to each other, the seasons.
Tony, sometimes I just want to scream because people will say, you know, well, did these people speak with the grunt? Well, I look at these murals and I see sophistication that we'd be hard-pressed with today.
I think sophistication is an overvalued term. I mean, what the hell do we mean by that anyway?
Well,
I
mean, still pretty much killing ourselves with spheres and rocks of one sort or another.
One of the important things you have to realize is that these people have the same brain that put a man on the moon. They were in tune with their universe and their environment.
same brain, same brain.
I would not be surprised if the Lower Pecos art outlasts all of us. All of our monuments crumble to dust immediately. 4,000 years later, white shaman, still there.
I think they're going to have a tough time of interpreting what life was like on this planet. They'll be left with like Betamax copies of Three's Company and, you know, and who's the boss? Who lived on this planet and what went horribly wrong? If you talk about life-changing events in any neighborhood, it's when the artists show up.
When my father, Donald Judd, came to Marfa in the early 70s, it was a ranching community and an old railroad town.
The legend is, of course, that he looked at a map and was looking for the least populated area of America and came out here. Is that true?
Yeah, that is. I mean, he did a lot of looking for places that had very few people and very few trees and lots of space. He had been working hard for so long, and I think coming out to Marfa was this reward.
That was a giant of the art world in New York with an enduring, huge legacy. What's that like?
The thing with my dad is that he was like a buddy my whole life. He was literally like my tether to understanding the world.
Oh, wow, look at this.
There are people who make great food in Marfa that didn't open a restaurant, so this is the behind the scenes of the yummy food that people make in their homes. Carmen's menudo and her blue corn tortillas.
Nice.
Johnny Sofocal's mesquite bean flour empanadas. Melinda's queso fresco.
With chiles? I love this, I love this.
And Ophelia's tamales over here.
Wow. When your dad came to town with nothing but love in his heart and a desire to make beautiful things, he ushered in this entire new world with the invasion of, gourmet coffee or, trained baristas. How did he feel about that?
I mean, my dad made his own coffee every morning, so he wouldn't be that into the fancy coffee available now, but the people who come here now, as long as they're contributing to being a good citizen, it's actually a good thing that people are here.
Muy bien, estamos escuchando la KRT 63.5 en Marfa, Texas. No, aquí es su amigo el servidor, el Primo Carrasco. Como quieras, en español, en inglés, aquí estamos para servirte.
Dos, carne guisada, también chile verde.
¿Chile verde?
Sí.
Dígame.
Barbacoa.
Barbacoa, taco. Most of the better restaurant chefs, you can find them at least once a week getting their food here, even if they're making food down at their place.
Unbelievable. The gas station.
In the morning, everybody's here. It's all the Border Patrol guys, like all of them.
There you go. You have a great day.
All the laborers in town, kids, the people that work at the radio station. It's like going to, like your abuela's house.
So you're both multitaskers. You're a state employee, a
County employee.
County employee.
Elected official, yeah.
Justice of the peace?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean?
I'm like the small judge that reads you your rights when you go to jail.
You're also a musician?
Yeah, musician with Primo here.
You were the radio station?
I've been on the radio now for 10 years, 10 years every week, and he's been on the radio now for, what, 3?
3 or 4 years. Restaurant business?
I have a burger and taco joint that's open on weekends. Burger time!
A lot of multitasking around here. People tend to...
You have to.
You have to.
Yeah, I always say that every job here pays $10 an hour, whether you're the attorney or the barista or the janitor. So you're gonna have to, work a lot of different jobs to make it because it's expensive to live here.
Right. Look, this is a small town.
1,800 people.
It seems an unlikely place to put in a spanking new public radio station that's heard all over Texas, yes?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, your expenses for running a 100,000-watt transmitter on the top of a mountain that gets struck by lightning every 3 weeks is pretty tough. I mean, but the station has support from pretty much everybody here. Everybody listens to the radio in their pickup truck. The only other news source we have around here is the local newspaper.
What are the big issues? What do people want to talk about?
The issue is border trade, and there's a lot of fear right now because the idea of changing NAFTA.
American parts assembled in Mexico come
brought
back here.
Yeah, that's part of the NAFTA thing. You can take it, have it here, take it over there, assemble it, bring it back. There's no tax.
Right.
It's definitely been good for our community. There's a mobile home factory called Solitaire. You see them all over here. People buy them. They take the stuff down there. They assemble the homes down there, and then they bring them up the road. They'll come up. You'll see 2 or 3 come up the highway today.
And who's buying those things?
Everybody who's working class. The manufactured housing is the craftsman home of the 21st century.
It appears that Marfa in particular is going to be a tourist and service economy. There's money flooding in here. It is an irresistible tide. Is there money trickling down? Is it spreading out into the community?
We have jobs here. You can get a job here. It's not, as I said, everybody makes $10 an hour here, but 25 years ago, we had nobody here, and it was a dying town, so you got cowboys, Border Patrol, you got hipsters coming in from out of town, New York artists wearing weird glasses and white pants. Maybe we don't understand each other, but we can all be in the same place at any time. People here are nice.
Aquí en el pueblito, everybody's wave each other, todos.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. You're listening to 93.5 KRTS, Marfa Public Radio.
Oh, dear friend, I know your secret, but I just can't keep
This is what the Mexican people end up living in once they leave their adobes. The projects, the low-income housing.
In the morning, you will pay for what you've done.
Hola, Ramona. ¿Cómo está? 2 burritos, por favor. De asado. Por favor. Qué rico. Gracias, Ramona.
Man.
You've been riding horses?
Yes, you noticed the groan as I sit down. That is a serious burrito. No rice and all that. This is the real deal, man. I love it. Were you born here? You were born in Mexico City.
I was a fisherman in Alaska for 19 years of my life.
Oh, yeah?
In the Bering Sea.
Now, is it adobe or adobe?
Adobe.
Adobe. And you've been quoted saying adobe is political.
Yes. You're going to start with that question.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Straw, clay, water, and manure, that's what makes the adobe. We make a flat surface here where we're gonna put the water and the manure on top. Adobe building has happened all over the world for thousands of years. Here, historically, the adobe has been kept alive by the Mexican and Mexican-American populations. The tradition of the adobe is barely alive because of what's happening with the gentrification in Marfa. The Mexican-American minorities are being displaced. The people who have lived in adobes for generations have to sell their homes because of the new taxes. Taxes that are only in adobes, you know, that a lot of us, we also find discriminating. We are at a critical point. When I think about adobe, it's probably the oldest tangible representation of the local and regional culture that we have.
Sé muy bien que te vas y sufro tanto, pero ¿qué voy a hacer?
everybody for generations, they have crossed the Rio Grande back and forth just by walking. The river was low, and they would just cross, go buy some groceries, and then go back.
Hi, y'all. This next song is by Molly Ferguson of the Resonator of Presidio, Texas. This is Marfa Public Radio.
Ir a caminar en el muelle del mar, contigo a mi lado. Pero no es tan fácil porque estoy lejos de ti y quisiera poder vivir contigo. Y cuando llega la noche yo quiero estar entre tus brazos yo y quisiera volar, pero no es tan fácil porque estoy lejos de ti y quisiera poder vivir contigo.
Very low crime here.
Yep, I mean, Ojinaga defies so many of the things that people say about the border. You know, my daughter spends a lot of time in Ojinaga, my daughter. And, you know, some people is like, what? But, I mean, I don't go to sleep at night wondering if she's okay, because I know she's okay.
She's at home.
Yeah. The interesting thing about this restaurant is they don't just serve your typical Mexican, you know, enchilada place. So a lot of kind of traditional recipes.
Well, I know they do meat here in that way, yeah?
Hey, so welcome to good old Presidio and Ojinaga.
Other side of the river, you were currently the mayor of Presidio.
Yes, sir.
And you are former mayor of
Ojinaga. ¿Cuáles años era presidente?
98-2001.
You know, when we talking about sister cities, that's serious.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's almost like an arbitrary line through them.
On the weekends, Presidio just kind of empties out. You say, where is everybody? It's because they're here. So, I mean, that's kind of why when there's talk about a border wall, I was like, whoa, wait, you know, we're basically just one town here.
Siempre nos hermanamos, las autoridades, nunca nos peleamos. 300 años tenemos de amigos inseparables.
Now, you couldn't come over here. Your boyfriend can't come over there?
No.
Not yet.
That's not too friendly, but what's up with that? And how come? Why not?
Es muy complicado because you want to go, like, conocer su casa, conocer dónde ha estudiado, dónde da clases. No puedo cruzar. Why not, you know? Like what is...
person.
I'm a person, you
So
know?
you don't,
So I'm a person.
you need a visa? I mean, what's the problem?
Yeah,
you can't go back and forth for the day or for 2 days?
No. We did the process and everything for him to at least get a visitor's visa. He went on a bus that took him to Juarez, which is 4 hours away.
Yeah, no, 10 hours.
10 hours on a bus, okay. And so then he had to wait in a line, 4 hours, like, waiting.
Okay.
And then the interview took, like, 2 minutes.
Almost,
and they
almost
just
something
put
like
denied.
that.
They didn't even...
Denied.
Meanwhile, you live right, like, within a mile from each other.
He has no bad record, nothing, you know, and we're best friends, you know, and I wish he could come over to my house and just see it, you know.
The state of Texas is so much more diverse than it used to be. And I think it makes it just better. Much, oh yeah. And I know some people, it scares them. I think it's just the fear of the unknown. It's not the fear based on anything concrete. Here, we're all family.
Cuando saluda con la izquierda para el corazón.
Salud.
Salud.
This is Santa Elena Canyon. Big Bend National Park, the largest national park in Texas, and it's named after the Big Bend in the Rio Grande. We are surrounded by 1,500-foot limestone cliffs. This slowly rose up, and the river just cut through it for millions of years.
It looks good.
Oh, good job on the food.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Salud.
Salud. So you're looking at Texas, and I'm looking at Mexico.
That's 100% correct, yeah. The cliffs on our left are Mexico, and the ones on our right are the United States.
I've been on several overnights where your clients almost forget that, yeah, that's Mexico right there. And they say, wait, is that Mexico? And it's like, yeah, it is. Looks exactly the same as that.
Yeah.
We get people from all over the country, all over the world, and some of them come in hesitant or scared of the border.
When they book the trip, they say, should I bring my gun?
Right.
But the neat thing is that everyone I've taken out, you get to see this transformation from being like terrified to thinking it's beautiful, to thinking they don't need a wall, to thinking I'm actually gonna write a letter saying that we don't need a wall.
Right. Does anyone ever bother to, I mean, are there like security gunboats coming up and down this river?
I mean, I think the Border Patrol technically does have a hovercraft that they've used once, and it
Park
was
Service does,
horrible.
too.
Yeah.
They have helicopters.
For the record, I don't understand why Mexico is made to be such an issue. I mean, it's our second biggest trade partner, aside from China.
Yeah, what about the Canadians? They're actually pouring across our borders and stealing our jobs.
They are taking our jobs.
Find a non-Canadian comedian.
How many Canadians play hockey in the United States for a U.S. team?
Those are high-paying jobs.
They're stealing them.
They're stealing our jobs.
I mean, there's so many avenues that conversation can go to where violence comes from, where dangers come from.
Well, even our small towns here. I mean, crazy stuff happens everywhere.
The world is made a better place by little bits at a time. You can't just jam through a wall in 1 year and say it's fixed.
You know, I've been to a few places where they do have a wall.
Yeah.
Few things are uglier in the entire world of all of the places I've seen. Few things have been more an indication of an utter failure of otherwise smart people to figure shit out. Thank you for showing me this amazing, I mean, just ludicrously amazing place. There are certain type of people who connect immediately to the empty spaces. I can't spend much time on myself. If I'm alone in my apartment in New York or on a beach with a hammock, I like to think I'd be able to relax, but I can't. There's that enforced sense of humility, because you really know how utterly powerless you are. You're just tiny.
The warrior Bhima is tricked into a fool's errand. He seeks his parents in heaven. They are not there. Instead, he finds them in hell. He offers his parents the elixir of life, yet they refuse. They accept the fruits of their karma. This being their final test, they ascend to heaven. The story of Bhima Swarga teaches us that heaven and hell are allegories, not truths. Life is cyclical, and so is death.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Di ilmu pengetahuan ada Big Bang.
In science, there's a Big Bang.
Sebetulnya di wayang ada Big Bang juga, jadi kulitnya menjadi putihnya semar.
Okay, so when the universe was created, the universe is like an egg that broke.
Yes.
Okay, from the
And then-
shell,
Yes.
it's this fella
Togok.
here, it's called Togok.
Yes.
From the yellow,
Yes.
the yolk,
Bataraguri.
the teacher, the
Yes.
Batara, the teacher,
And then the putih white.
and the white of the egg is Semar.
Ini mendampingi orang baik.
Semar
Yes.
is to accompany the good. So this is to accompany the bad, the
Yes.
demon. This is to accompany the good.
So the philosophy is, without this, there is no this. Without this, there is no this.
There is no right without wrong. There is no dark without light, but each interconnects. That is
Yes.
the main philosophy. So the existence comes from the same egg.
For 1,000 years, the wayang, or shadow play, has been entertainment for both mortals and the gods. In the shadow world, everything has its opposites. At work within every man are forces both divine and animalistic. The philosophy of the shadow play is to strive for balance. You cannot kill the dominant animal urges within. You must harness them, yet not be controlled by them. Shadows that manifest on screen are more than mere relief. As they come alive, timeless tales, interspersed with subversive stories, bring the world of gods, monsters, and heroes into sync with current social commentary.
Indonesia is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the fourth largest country in the world?
The fourth largest, but we are the third largest democracy. 17,000 islands. The majority of the population, 60%, live on Java.
And how many people in Jakarta?
Greater Jakarta is around 25 million, but
25 million.
25, that's a greater
Right.
area.
What should the rest of the world know about the fourth largest country in the world that they don't know? Because, let's face it, I think if you ask most people who are going to watch this show, tell me something about Indonesia, you'll get a total blank.
Indonesia, we are very, very diverse. Because even before Islam came, the locals, they have their own traditions, they have their own culture.
Toleransi apa? Tolerance.
The tolerance.
The tolerance.
The appetite.
The attitude of tolerance, religion tolerance, rather drop in our country.
The level of tolerance
Yes.
is declining?
Yes. But in the food, all very single food from this area go to another area.
Basically, food is a great unifier. You
Right.
see,
So
especially like
you may speak poorly of another region. Oh, they're terrible people over there, but their food is good?
Yeah, they say that if you really want to know and try every single dish in Indonesia, you have to live here for 40 years.
40 years.
So you need to stay here for a long time because every single area has its own specialty. Padang food, this is from West Sumatra. If we talk about fast food, this is the fastest food. I mean, this is way before this genre of fast food exists in the world. As you sit down, they come up with all the dishes, and the concept is you choose what you want to eat, and you only pay for what you want to eat. Here is...
Pull.
It's lungs, fried lungs.
Fried lungs.
Fried lungs. This is an intestine goulash. And this, basically the skin.
Deep fried fat and skin. Yeah, oh, I like that.
Of course, this is rendang. We're very proud of our rendang. And what makes Padang food very special is the spice.
Yes.
The spice and the chili.
So good.
Yeah. You like rendang?
I do. We could eat that all day. So, I wanted to ask the traditional Indonesian shadow play. How does one learn? How did you learn your art?
All shadow puppet masters is turunan, apa?
Yes, it's all
Yes.
passed on from
Oh, it
generation to
is.
generation.
So your father did this as well. And as I understand it, traditionally, the puppet master was allowed a certain latitude to tease, provoke, or openly mock the powerful. How far can you go?
It's a bit like in the court jester,
Right.
where the court jesters are expected, you know, to make people laugh, but at the same time, it's an opportunity also to criticize without getting punished for it. But at the same time, there's a philosophical level to it, to make the people aware of certain dangers.
Aware that kebenaran dan kesalahan itu blind.
So to make the people aware that truth and wrongdoings, it's actually not black and white. They interconnect.
From the very beginning of the universe is darkness. Okay? The universe can see lighting by knowledge, by science. But unfortunately, science make the shadow. It is the paradox. Without light, you can't seeing anything. By lighting meaning it's the knowledge, the science, the conscience, kesadaran, yeah, consciousness. You can see everything. You can see, but everything makes shadow.
Watch the shadows, not the puppets. The right in constant struggle with the left. Forces of light and darkness in an endless fight for supremacy, neither prevailing. What is good? What is evil? Who is the hero? Who is the villain? What is up or down? Black or white? What is right or wrong? In shadow play, no such final conclusion exists.
money.
I think we're paying to not play music now.
Yeah, right.
So you teach here, and you were educated in the States?
Yes, yeah. I got my second Fulbright when I was teaching as a scholar in residence at the University of California.
And your subject was the Nixon years during that period?
Yeah, after World War II.
You were also a man of the cloth, a man of faith. So the right man to talk to. We've been largely advised that we will make people uncomfortable if we even discuss the year 1965.
The year of living dangerously.
The year of living dangerously.
Yeah. What happened was basically the communists were accused of launching a coup against the government. And because of that, there was kind of justification for killing people who were suspected of being communists.
And who were they?
They're just villagers or people who, in a very vain way, associated with or connected with the Indonesian Communist Party.
Right.
Indonesia boasts one of the world's most bizarre leaders. Then 3 weeks ago, the communists staged a coup, but it misfired and the army struck back. Michael Charlton reports.
Indonesia's revolution is still fiercely on the boil as the systematic roundup of communists goes on.
With its leaders either captured or killed, the communist force collapsed.
The army led a hunt for party officials, slaughtering the largest communist party outside the Iron Curtain.
General Suharto has taken advantage of the passion stirred to try and swing public opinion hard against their rivals. The army now control all news and information.
The actual number who were killed were between 500,000 to 1 million. And many more were imprisoned, tortured, and things like that. So,
is it in the interest of Indonesians to be fully aware of what happened in '65? Has Indonesia, as a country, reconciled itself to those events?
is there eagerness to know? Yes, there is. There are many people. At the same time, there was also fear. So many people, they kept silent to avoid their family members being implicated. So yes, there is a lot of eagerness, but at the same time, there are a lot of fear.
Yeah.
And so the real political situation is
more complicated.
Yeah, more complicated.
What about everyday life thrills you here? You wake up in the morning, walk outside.
Well, you could not meet nicer people, Tony. I mean, everyone treats everyone else with respect and kindness. It's ingrained in the culture here.
You just still see certain things here that are just gone in other countries. You know, you still got people grilling satay on the street. You've got people wheeling around sort of wooden carts that have gone elsewhere. At the same time, you've got 60 million people with smartphones, all on social media, and, you know, that's opening up massive opportunities. To be a journalist here now is just a privilege.
Yeah, is this the unofficial Foreign Correspondents Club?
It is.
Very much
it is
so.
Indeed, yeah.
How long have you been living here?
Most of 18 years.
How long have you been living?
I've had 2 stints, some about 6 years. Yeah, so
Same
I came
with
back.
that.
Same, yeah.
2 stints. So, how are things going? I mean, this is a democracy now, yes?
Oh, it is.
I've always called it a microcosm of all the good and bad in the world, because Indonesia has everything. Democracy, it has pollution, it has environmental degradation, it's got human rights abuses. There's a lot of problems here, but one of the great things going on is these elections are free and fair, and everybody knows it.
A popular president, relative peace in the land, free speech?
Oh, absolutely.
But there are 2 subjects that there is a real reluctance to talk about and reconcile, and it's kind of weird. The years 1965 and 1975, there isn't much appetite to look at that. Why?
For reputational reasons, as much as anything, but also potentially legal reasons as well. So the two main perpetrators of the massacre were the military and the mass Islamic groups. Groups who are moderate these days, but at that time, amid that hysteria, they were involved in this kind of brutal pogrom. This was sort of hand-to-hand, slitting throats, garroting people, burying them in mass graves. Very nasty, nasty stuff. And then the second reason is there was an intensive campaign of propaganda which portrayed this massacre as an honourable attempt by Suharto to put down a communist coup.
Is it even useful for Indonesians to look at that extraordinarily painful, awful period of time?
We're journalists, right? You know, you got to believe allowing these stories to be told, you know, is going to be to the good.
You know, I don't know. I want to believe that. I really do. I do believe it. But certainly the West doesn't much want to talk about it. I mean,
No.
we were
culpable.
But yes, we were in deep. But what is it? Henry Kissinger walks into a bar. It sounds like a joke. Henry Kissinger and a penguin walk into a bar. I'm not asking what you do, but what would it displease you if I walked over and punched Henry Kissinger in the face? Would you find that entertaining?
I would.
Would you have a frisson of pleasure even? Would you feel that justice is in some small way served?
You hate Henry Kissinger.
I fucking hate him.
Yeah.
Because in my travels, I stumble across his good works everywhere I go.
Right. Let's do this.
A rabbit punch.
No, kidney punch.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Oh, my.
Java is Indonesia's seat of power, but this home to millions is just one of seemingly countless islands across the archipelago. Bali endures as an island of legends, of magic and spirits, where ancient animist traditions blend with Hindu and Buddhist beliefs. Ceremonies and offerings are an attempt to bring harmony between the upper world of the gods and the lower world of the demons, with man balanced in between. Who is the hero? Who is the villain? Who decides what is right or wrong? Bali is as much an island of the gods as it is the demons.
Do you have a shot of the people getting massages by the pool while eating? This is an Emmy-winning shot, dude. It's happening right over there. So this too is Bali, I guess. Or it is now. Thank you, Jimmy Buffett, for taking a big dump on the world. Another Wagyu slider, my good man. Yes, thank you. By weight, how much human waste is generated by your average person on vacation. Look around you. Do the math. I want a water sample. I'm telling you, the fecal coliform count is going to be interesting. I'm sure there's a metaphor here. Am I bitter? Am I just old? Do I just have like a predisposition, an instinctive hatred of young people? Perhaps. Enjoy the moment. The words of Baba Ram Das, be here now. But I am here now. I'm not actually having sliders. I mean, you eat those fucking things. People who see, eat, pray, love, who were inspired to come to Bali and do yoga. They have a romantic notion. They want to improve their lives in a physical and spiritual way. They would like to have an experience that they can remember. You mentioned Bali, and people think paradise. I mean, of course.
Oh, here they come. The babi guling.
Oh, yeah, I remember this dish. I love it, of course.
Maybe we could just talk really quickly about the food. Very quickly.
No, I get in VO because I've had it before. We don't need to talk about this food because I know it very, very well. I will speak incredibly knowledgeably of it in voiceover. Trust me.
You've been here before, right?
I have been here, I think, 11 years ago, and it was a very different look and play. Even then, 11 years ago.
11 years is too long.
Yes. How did you get into the yoga business? Did you anticipate it would become so big, or did it start small?
Not really, honestly. It was when the Eat, Pray, and Love was shooting in the island.
So tell me how many customers you do in a day?
300 to 400 people.
That's a big increase.
It's really huge because you see the traffic, how crazy it is.
It is crazy.
Dealing with the traffic.
I mean, it's worse than Manhattan.
Well, right now that we have two big problems right now. First is waste, second is traffic. Is the tourism bad? Yes, it has its bad side. Is the tourism good? Yes, of course, right? What is Bali? What is Balinese people? What is Balinese culture? What part of this could be supported by the people who come to Bali? What kind of people do we want to come to Bali?
I think you've kind of put your finger on something that a lot of people have not. Because you don't want to just do yoga, you want to do yoga in reasonable distance of this, of these temples. If you come to Bali and it looks exactly like Cancun and Miami, why the fuck get on a plane all the way to Bali?
This is one of the 3 most piratical places on the planet. It's pretty safe around here now. It used to be in the early days when we were filming here.
You first arrived in Indonesia in '65, right?
That's right. But it was pretty hairy then.
Given that you arrived at absolutely the worst possible time, what was it about the place that compelled you to come back?
Unexplored regions, tropical animals, ancient civilizations, long memory amongst the people, mysticism, everything a schoolboy would obviously love.
You're training, correct me if I'm wrong, psychoanthropology?
Yes.
Now, are there through lines, or is there any connectivity between belief systems?
They're different, but they're all united by a common theme that they believe in the reality of the invisible world. They believe it's stronger than what we think is the reality, you know, what we can touch and measure and weigh. They would all share the belief that this is illusion, that this is only the surface of another greater reality beneath it. In that, they're fairly constant. This is Nusa Penida. This was a penal colony for Bali. They put their criminals here.
Right.
And they also believe that it is the home of the Layaks, the witches, the black magicians.
This island has not been invaded like Bali.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, there's a bachelor party going on there. Oh, no. Just messing with you, man.
Wow.
It's some big lobsters.
These have to be the biggest local lobsters I've ever seen.
Wow. In the West, we tend to think of things in a binary way. There's good and evil, life, death. You've seen every variety of human behavior in this part of the world. Always a notion of light and dark, good and evil, just not absolute ones.
You know, we call Bali the island of the gods. That's a sort of slogan for the tourism industry, but it's equally an island of the demons. I mean, I've always found useful in anthropology this concept of the left and the right cranial hemispheres. The left is the thing that we are over-dominant in the West. It handles the rational, practical, consecutive thought. Here, it's the opposite imbalance. It's the other way around. The right is the intuitive, holistic access to everything we've ever been.
That's
access
the right
to our
brain.
genetic memory, exactly.
So they know stuff we don't know.
They definitely know
No
stuff
doubt.
we don't know.
Given all the time you spent in Indonesia, do you experience life differently or in any way similarly to the way people here look at it?
No, I don't think I do see it the way people here see it. I like to think that I can see what it is that they're seeing, as it were, but I've got a broader perspective because I'm a Westerner, I'm a foreigner in a strange land. I'll never be considered an Indonesian. I'm enriched by being here because there's a greater variety of human experience going on here.
Yeah, tell me about the funerals, because we're attending one.
You are. You will be.
Yes.
Well, a Balinese funeral is a very sobering phenomenon, especially for us Westerners who distance ourselves from death. I spent quite a long time doing these beautiful offerings, all of it to go up in flames.
Ah.
So it's ephemeral art. And the idea is that we, too, are ephemeral.
And this is why it's quite an extraordinary thing that you actually light the match that consumes your loved one. Well, it's in your face that we are not our bodies, because they really believe in an afterlife. They really believe that you will be coming back and you will be joining your ancestors in the meantime. Maybe wrong, but it's wonderful to be able to believe that and to derive all the warmth and strength and benefit of it. Is this all human poetry, or is there something in it?
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I've thought about, you know, as one does, you know, how I want to go. How do you want to go?
I'd be burned. I can handle
You want a
cremation.
party? I mean,
Oh, I'd rather a party, yes.
you would.
How about you? You want them all to cry, don't you? You want them
No, leave me in the jungle.
Okay.
I don't want a party. Reported dead.
Okay.
You know, what actually happens to my physical remains is of
Doesn't matter much.
zero interest to me. Unless it could provide entertainment value. Throw me into a wood chipper and spray me into Harrods, you know, at middle of the rush hour. That would be pretty epic. I wouldn't mind being remembered in that way.
Terus cuma harga coba dewa napi seleweng wentan tu. Nada kena kunang pisacu genaro buto kalau perasamu. Damang mereka nak samu menalu.
Wayang is not necessarily entertainment for the people. Most of the time it's performed for the unseen. That's why it's a shadow play. It's also for the shadow world. We Balinese have a lot of magical thinking. Often we believe that what happens in the real world is a consequence of what is happening in the shadow world. That's why there's so much offerings and appeasements. Every day we make offerings. Love notes, thank you notes, left around to the spirit saying thank you for keeping everything in balance. So today is the final rites of the human. Once the ashes are scattered to the sea, then begin the rites of the spirit.
So who will attend the funeral today?
The family, of course, but cremations in Bali are very much a communal affair, so the village runs it. It's not just the family.
Right. People's attitudes towards the passing of a life, towards death, funerals, wakes, different here than in the West. No weeping and rending of garments.
There is a lot of...
There is.
It's at the bathing ceremony of the body, that is when the mournful event becomes a joyous occasion.
Right, but the funeral itself.
It's a joyous occasion, especially the cremation. It's a big send-off. It's a big party to send the spirit to the afterlife.
We're not talking about the end.
Life is cyclical. It's very much a circle.
So this is something to be happy about.
Yes, definitely.
Is to confuse and misdirect the spirits that might try to follow the
Love the sound. It's beautiful.
So
The gamelan.
that reverberates throughout your body. And the idea is that that noise shatters the illusion between the seen and the unseen worlds.
the state of mind is very important for your next journey. This is where you frame that big send-off to the next life. And of course, that journey is the mystery, the unknown, because eventually the soul will be reincarnated back here.
The shadow place story of Bima Swarga is often told as part of funerary rites for many reasons. Heaven and hell are allegories, not truths. Heaven and hell exist right here on the mortal plane. No tears should be shed during the cremation ceremony. Tears only hold back the soul of the departed. At sundown, ashes will be released, returned to the purity of the sea. Time is circular, as is life. Death is but the beginning of another journey.
All stories should end on a beach. All the good ones do, anyway. Why should this one be any different?